first off, congrats on the film. It was so fun and great performances all around from all of you. And I have to say, there's so many movies about underdogs rising to the top in the world of sports. What is it about Gran Turismo that you both think stands out from the rest and attracted you to the film?
I mean, it's very sort of its time, in the sense of it's not just an underdog story of like kids who are, I mean, one of my favorite underdogs is the Hoosiers, kids who are out in Indiana who, go to the championships, right? But this is like a kid who, he's not just an underdog. Like, he's a kid who hasn't even gotten in a car. Like a kid who plays a video game on his couch, who winds up racing in one of the greatest endurance races of all time at the highest level. And I think, there's a bit of a dream, fulfillment quality to the movie of like, I myself play video games, and I would love to think as I'm sitting there playing a video game that I'm training for a huge real world event. I don't know if this is the norm, but it certainly has an aspirational thing to it that's really fun. And I like the idea of these kids who are in this technology world and this older guy who's part of the mechanical older world, and how those two mesh, and what it is that they use from each other to create the third thing. I think that makes it different than other inspiring sports stories.
And we have so many films at the moment that go from like real world into like AI or technology. And this is the opposite of that. We're going from computer into real life. Like, I think what David said of it being really of its time feels really accurate to me. I just didn't even know that it was possible. And so to see it, for me especially, just seeing this like young British mixed race kid do it, like I just hadn't ever seen a film like with somebody that looked like me like that as the main character in a film like this. And the fact that he did it to this huge degree in the way that he did, for me, was just unbelievably exciting.
Yeah. And David, the archetype of the trainer / coach is kind of a staple in every sports movie. You just can't not have someone like that in these types of movies. So how did you go about crafting Jack and putting your own spin on the archetype?
Yeah, it is a beloved thing that we have, this tough love coach. Think about Hoosiers, Friday Night Lights, think about Miracle, all these different sports movies. But I mean, for me, there's a lot of layers to Jack. I wanted him to get into metal music. That was something, Black Sabbath. And I wanted him to have some rage underneath him with the fact that he got beat up in the past. And also, I really think that at the base layer of Jack, on one layer, there's this, he's like, this is stupid. He says to Orlando's character in the beginning, like, this is stupid, this is dumb. They're going to kill themselves. I don't want to do this. He begrudgingly does it. He says that they're idiots and they're all worthless. And underneath, I think there's this layer of he feels exactly the opposite of what he's saying. I think he feels desperate for them to achieve, because in that way he can overcome his own cynicism. He can live again. And there's something about those two layers running concurrently that was really exciting for me to dig into. And hopefully you'll see them right from the very beginning. You'll feel it.
Yeah. And Archie, I have to let y'all go in just a second, but I did want to ask you, you obviously portray Jan, who was also a stunt driver in the film. So did you ever have any discussions with him about your portrayal of him, or did you ever take your own direction when filming?
A bit of both, actually. I mean, the beautiful thing about having Jan there was he was just this pool of knowledge about his own life. So we would do this really incredible thing that the way that Neil works is we would do scripted passes and then we would improvise around it. And if there was very specific things that I wanted to try and feed in about Jan's life, I could pull them straight from Jan. I could ask him questions and he'd be there to answer. But we were always pretty pretty straight up from the beginning about the fact that this was an essence of Jan. It's not like a straight me doing this kind of Elvis biopic portrayal of him. So I'm not trying to mimic the way he speaks and the way he, the way he lifts his head or anything like that. It just is me. It's the essence of his story. And there was freedom within that to also create a character that I found interesting, because, Jan was probably a lot of it, he was head down locked in, and you want to try and create something around that feels cinematically interesting as well.
Yeah. And it was a great performance, and I have to let y'all go, but thank you guys so much for speaking to me, and good luck on the film.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.